Dated is a word, right?
Yeah, I think didn't I just say it? I said indicted on accident.
I've been inundated lately with those fucking like nostalgia reels.
Yeah.
They just play like rainy footage of dead leaves on the ground, and then it just flashes through like a million different like kids with orange jack-o'-lantern, trick or treat, buckets and like sheet ghosts and clips from old Halloween special cartoons, and it'll usually start off with like a voice going like, some people even think it's fun to smash pumpkins, and then when you say smash pumpkins, it's the down 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 as it just like a million images a second.
Yeah.
So like that's how I keep waking up every morning. Also, similarly, again, it's mildly cringe and corny, and I'm embarrassed, but it fucking works. Like all that liminal club shit, you know what I'm talking about? All those reels.
Oh yeah.
Those just destroy me. You know, the thing where it's like POV, it's 2009, and like it's raining at school, and like the fucking door propped open with a fucking orange cone or whatever in the hallway. Yeah. But the one that I'm talking about being corny and cringe, especially, is now it's progressed to the point where they keep showing me like, if you really know your boyfriend, which bathroom would be like the best to take a bath in, and it'll just be like these crazy rooms that make me feel so sad and happy at the same time. Where it's just like glass walls, and then like just varying aesthetics of like, oh, by the sea, or in like some kind of mountain range in Asia, or like that kind of thing, whatever. And so what I'm trying to say is like now my morning Instagram like reel routine is like, oh, just get really sad in bed for a second.
Yeah. What always gets me is like nostalgia things from pictures of elementary schools in the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah. I send them to my brother and sister all the time, and my sister the other day, she was telling me, she was like, every time you send me one of these, it takes one day off my life expectancy.
Yeah, because it's like I remember those things hit me so hard. I remember them so clearly, but I also remember experiencing them every single day and being like, I want nothing to do with this ever again for the rest of my life. And every time I see one, I'm like you said, I'm nostalgic, but I'm bummed out about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel inspired to perhaps maybe attempt this, but it'll be interesting to see in like the next like 10 years or so. Like, I wonder if we'll start to get like the way that like people look at the 50s, 70s, and the 80s. Like, we'll start to get like movies that are set in 2003.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
There's already like a 2000s revival happening right now with like...
Yeah, with just fashion. But yeah, I can't wait till it hits like movies and stuff. That'll be really interesting. It'll be very, very interesting to see how that feels.
It was... I saw... I mean, this was years ago at this point. This girl was ahead of her time, but also she was right on the cusp of ahead and way behind her time. But it was like, I don't know, 5-10 years ago at this point, a girl dressed in like a Killer's t-shirt and like listening to like a My Chemical Romance song and posting like, God, if you grew up in this generation, I'm so jealous of you. And be like, oh, Jesus Christ.
None of that has to do with Halloween, but we are doing, again, our weekly, way of celebrating the spooky time, entire franchise of a horror movie review, yada, yada, yada. This is the first one actually being recorded in October. Isn't that funny?
Crazy.
It's finally like 55 degrees outside. And, gotta say, Nightmare on Elm Street so far, not really been doing it for me.
Not really hitting, can't lie.
Yeah, it's making me so nostalgic for the time we did Halloween and the time we did Friday the 13th, but I think especially the Halloween one.
Absolutely.
While those movies are bad, at least they're just like so like stacked with just like they feel like Halloween. Yeah. And the Friday the 13th, they're fun. This one, they've got like really smart ideas for sure. Like, I really like the concept of Freddy Krueger. And we'll get more into this in probably our last episode, because I think our last episode we're just going to have the remake to talk about. And like, this one we're going to talk about today, The Dream Child, episode 5, or, movie 5, whatever you want to fucking call it. The whole concept of like, oh, it's my babies that's dreaming, and then because they're asleep, they sleep whenever. So now I'm during the day having a nightmare because my baby's having a nightmare. That's fun. I like this stuff. But at the end of the day, like, the thing that they keep lacking for me time and time again is like no interesting characters. And like no vibe, no aesthetic, no mood. It's just movie. It's just 80s movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
But it's not even fun like Goonies or Gremlins or something. It's just like nondescript.
Yeah, there's so much like effects wise that I love about these movies. Like the Roach Motel in the last one, or like him being a motorcycle in this one.
Yeah.
Like, it's all great, and there's always points where it starts to hit me like a Friday the 13th 6 or something like that, where I'm like, oh, here we go, man.
Yeah.
But then always 3 characters will be talking to each other, and I can't imagine somebody sitting down and writing this and then somebody reading this and being like, Yeah, this is something people will want to watch.
Yeah.
Like, just there's nothing that anybody says to each other that I like or even dislike. It's always just like neutral. Nothing is happening over and over and over again, and then Freddy Krueger shows up.
Which is so crazy for a franchise that's like really like it's known for personality, right? It's Freddy Krueger's personality, right?
And he's barely in these fucking movies.
Yeah, and everything else lacks any personality at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, they call it an American Gothic slasher film, and I like the idea of that, and I see what they're saying for sure. But let's just play that little theme song that I love so much. And, then afterwards, we'll actually talk about the movie, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. The podcast thing. Yeah. Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
We're doing 4 and 5 this week, yeah?
No, this one's 5 and 6. We're doing Dream Child and Freddy's Revenge, or whatever, Freddy's Dead, The Final Friday, or whatever, Final Nightmare. That's the one with the fucking...
Okay,
you're right. We already did 3 and 4.
Okay, right. So this is this is
5 and 6. So this will be next week's episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still a little ahead, which is good. I mean, make sure we still got that file.
We do.
It's the one where I was reading fucking Wikipedia mostly.
Yeah, because I wrote down all my favorite one-liners from Nightmare 4, and I don't remember reading any of them. But all right.
Huh. Maybe we didn't. Well, we might have. I think we talked about that. But anyways, let's cut all of this out of business, or maybe leave it in. No, fucking cut it. Anyways, A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, a sequel to the other one that came out that we just talked about, The Dream Master. That has got to be, not trying to be an asshole, I know we already talked about that movie, but goddamn, I'm fine with the Dream Warriors, like the idea that like, we can take the power back or whatever, but the fucking Dream Master, that's a dog shit idea. The whole thing.
Yeah.
I hate that. We talked about it last week, but the fucking song and just the guy in school teaching her a class that's just like, yeah, and there is also a Dream Master. Fuck you.
Like,
whatever.
It should be good, and like thinking about it, like
she absorbs their power, but like again, they're just average teenagers. They don't have powers.
What are you talking about? That guy could do backflips, and that girl lifted weights, and that other girl had asthma.
Like it'd be different. God, it's just
like we keep saying, there's so many good ideas. Like when I think about it, him sucking the breath out of that girl who has asthma.
Yeah.
Horrifying. That's a great nightmare, but also
sure, that's just a single moment that I like from that movie, though. All right, so this one came out in 1989. People directed it, people wrote it. This one starts off with one of my favorite dream sequence, probably since the beginning, because again, I mean, we talked about it in that episode, but still, shit like the hallway with Tina in the body bag, still S tier. But this one is one that I like akin to that, where it's like she gets up and she's taking that shower. She can't get the door open. It's like filling up with water and stuff. Yeah. And even before that, like the shit starts coming out of the fucking drain, and she's like trying to like unclog the fucking brown water.
Yeah, with
drain.
her hand. Yeah. That's if brown water starts coming out of my bathtub.
Yeah,
I'm out. Like I'm not like I better reach my hand. Like I know I'm in the shower.
Yeah,
that's the cleanest I'm gonna be, and where I'm gonna get clean again. But also, if brown stuff starts coming out of there,
don't touch it.
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out of 5,000.
Call a guy that has a suit to put on. So Alice Johnson, I believe she was in our last one, correct?
Yes.
And she's dating Dan Jordan, who was in the last one also. Mm-hmm. Don't care. They fucked. They got pregnant. She doesn't. Neither of them know yet though. And there just hasn't been any Freddy Krueger lately. I guess she was showering after having sex with Dan. I don't remember picking up on that, but that's what the Wikipedia has written down in plain English. English. I'm a widowy speaking English. But anyways, so whatever. So she has a vision of herself dressed as a nun. Name tag this as Amanda Krueger. Again, I'm not a fan of the Amanda Krueger thing. Just because in general, I think we talked about it already. It's enough for him to be a child killer. It's enough for him to be a dream demon now that's exacting revenge. His mother didn't also have to get raped by an asylum full of mentally unstable people for an entire holiday weekend.
I am starting to like, though, it's starting to grow on me that every movie adds 2 more hats onto this hat.
Yeah, because we'll get into it in the next one, but the next one is like, the dream people, don't you know that's who gave me this job? So my man's got a fucking W-9. He's got to file it.
Exactly. This movie is like...
Boys putting in hours.
Borderline, like...
Talk about that
has
later,
the same vibe of, like, an X-Men comic book in the 90s, because it's been going on since 1910, and there's just so much on top of so much on top of so much that, like, when they add a new thing, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Do I want to think about how it affects the rest of all of the rest of this lore? I should, but I'm not gonna, because whoever made... I feel like my running theory, and this really, really comes from the house being Freddy Krueger's house. Yeah. Which is Nancy's house.
Not Freddy Krueger's.
I want to say everybody who makes one of these movies has seen the last movie, and that's
none of the other ones.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing I was thinking about... too, is that like this one as opposed to like Halloween or Friday the 13th, both of those movie series were just like other than like the third one, which was obviously an outlier of the Halloween series. When you're talking about the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, each one of those are just like, hey, in the most simple way possible, let's get back to what we were doing, right? Same thing with Friday the 13th. Most of them, except for like Takes Manhattan and Jason Goes to Hell, it's pretty much like, hey, what's the most simple way we can just get back to what was going on, right?
We put Carrie in it.
Yeah. In these ones, it's like every episode they're like, all right, how do we double it? Like, how do we jump the shark,
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So anyways, whatever. I'm sorry to keep ranting and raving instead of talking about it. We do see the dream sequence where our main character, Alice, experiences Amanda Krueger getting locked in the asylum. I do like this sequence because it's got this like goofy, over-the-top, like Tobe Hooper, kind of like cartoonish Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 kind of aesthetic to it, where like she's down there with the maniacs and the two like workers are like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and the other guy's like, oh come on, it's 100 maniacs, you don't gotta count them, let's lock up and leave for Thanksgiving or whatever. Slam the door shut, and she's like, no, I'm down here.
Which that I feel like that wouldn't even come from the neglect of the orderlies being like, they're all fucking here, let's go. Yeah. It's the neglect of two men coming in with a woman and then going, just us came in, right? Let's get out of here.
Yeah, again, it is. I don't want to pull it apart, but it is such a flimsy scene because, absolutely, like, those two guys are in charge of all of them. It's all the staff that this place has, and they have to count them like chickens. There's not a better system in place for like whether or not you have all 100 of these maniacs. Yeah. Okay, next day, Alice is graduating from high school. I remember this. She's got her friend Greta who wants to be a supermodel, or rather, I should say her mom wants to be a supermodel.
And I think this is, at this point, we're like looking up, is this the same actress from the last movie?
We were doing that, yes. And it wasn't?
It was.
Oh, it was, right? I was like, I bet $1 billion it's not. And you were like, well, pay up. So... Mark Gray, he's the comic book fan who has the Your Ideal Living house.
Yes, that part's great. This guy sucks, though.
Okay, I'm going to write down these names because I did not remember them.
He's a sad excuse for Rick Johnson, who I'll never forget, because he has basically my name.
Yvonne, the hospital volunteer and swimmer. All right. Alice talks about her nightmares to Dan, but everybody does the classic thing they do in this series where they're like, you're a fucking maniac. I wish we still had asylums so we could fucking throw you in it. We don't want to hear your fucking mouth anymore.
With 99 other people just like you.
Yeah, there's like, it's crazy. Like, almost every time someone goes, I'm having nightmares, and I think that guy that was murdering us a year ago is back, they're all like, Jesus Christ, someone get a hammer and smash her head. Like, I don't know why everybody gets, like, people get so mad.
They do.
They get so mad. So anyways, yeah, so, okay, on her way home, Alice finds herself back at the asylum where she sees Amanda giving birth. Oh, that's right, we see the crazy birth scene.
Oh,
where
my
the little
God,
baby
Freddy
Krueger gets born.
Oh my God,
which I loved, little baby Freddy Krueger.
That's the point in this movie. I'm going to start pointing these out.
Yeah.
This is the point where I was like, hell yeah. Now this is where these movies get good, is when I saw little puppet baby Freddy Krueger. I was like,
I got to say, this movie and the next movie, they're my favorite Freddy Kruegers besides the first two, where the first two, he's just like straight up scary. Mm-hmm. I like that in these two, he's like basically straight up silly. I like these two sides. Oh, yeah. But in this one, like, so for example, he runs around, and I don't know what the little baby Krueger says. He probably says something like, catch me if you can, or whatever. But then when he's inside of Freddy's dead body or whatever, and he comes back, he's like, it's a boy!
So good.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So Freddy's back because in a dream he gave birth to himself through his mother or whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Is this one bad year, Dan?
It is, yeah.
Okay,
I love.
Okay,
Bad
that's why I got confused, because I have that written down, but I haven't written down for 4.
So, anyways, yeah. So, this also happens inside a church, and again, like that's just another thing I really don't understand about the Freddy thing. I get that it's, a lot of my complaints about the Freddy thing is like, I guess me just not being familiar with the franchise, but I don't give a fuck about all the like Catholic and church imagery that keeps coming back around.
Well, you say that, but Chris, we've seen 6 of these. I think you're pretty familiar with it at this point. If you're like, I guess I just don't know enough about these 6 movies, that why is there you have seen all of it?
Well, I just mean to say like maybe I'm not accepting enough of like what it is. Okay, like it'd be like what I'm trying to say is like I'm sure to someone who likes the Nightmare on Elm Street series, I'm kind of like, I don't like the hockey mask. Why does he keep doing that? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so he attacks. So what's going on? So back at like the pool or whatever, Yvonne has the keys to the pool where she swims because she's a swimmer. Everybody's having a party to like celebrate. Dan doesn't drink, who's Alice's boyfriend, but Alice would like some champagne. She's working at a diner, and for some reason he rushes over to Alice. I can't remember exactly why, but he seems like he's in a bit of a hurry. He's got the champagne with him. Then he has a nightmare while driving because he falls asleep almost instantly. There's just like a scene where he goes like, whew. And then Freddy's like, getting kind of woozy, are we, buddy? Like, whatever.
Yeah, I love because it's not like, there's no implication that Freddy Krueger now has the ability to make people fall asleep so that they can have the dreams. Dan just, at 8:30, falls asleep while driving.
Yeah, not even a drinker. Didn't even have any drinks at the party. Whatever. But, so he comes over the radio. He says some silly shit or whatever. But what I do like is he's got the champagne bottle. Freddy takes a hold of it or whatever. I think he takes a swig, and then he goes, oh, bad year, Dan.
Yeah.
Which is very funny.
Then he tells him he shouldn't dream and drive, which is great.
Yeah.
I wrote down, it's a boy. I got a need for speed, he also says.
Oh, yeah, because he starts like Tetsuo the Metal Man fucking merging with this bike or whatever.
Yeah, and then he's like, lethal injection. Because apparently there's something about injections with motorcycle. I don't know.
It's good.
So good.
It's good. It's one of my favorite kills, but not in the same category of, like the Tina in the hallway thing or the opening. This one's like I don't know, this one's like a dirty 80s thing that could almost feels like it's out of an anime or something, Like it. It's good. Anyways, all right. Yeah, so basically Freddy attacks him, kills him. Waking up in the hospital, she hears the news that Dan is dead and that she is also pregnant with his child. During the night, she's visited by a young boy named Jacob Johnson.
Who looks like somebody.
He looks terminally ill.
He does. He's got these huge bags around his eyes, but he just looks like, I saw him and I was like, oh, I know this guy from something.
Yeah.
As an adult man. And no, he's been in nothing. He's been in this.
Did you immediately peg that this is probably her? Did you imagining her child coming
No, Chris, don't know why I would.
Oh, okay. I did. I was like, I bet this is our fucking child or whatever. Anyways, Yvonne tells her there are no children on the... Because she does that classic thing in movies where she's like, there was a boy. And she's like, there's no boys in the hospital. Anyways. Tells her friends about Freddy and his lineage. Yvonne refuses to listen. Mark and Greta are more supportive. That afternoon at a dinner party at home, Greta falls asleep at the table. I like this one where he starts... Freddy is like, bon appetit, and like shoves food into Greta's mouth.
You are what you eat.
Yeah.
And you got ahead of me, but this might top help yourself fucker, but bon appetit bitch is so good.
Help yourself fucker is pretty good. But yeah, bon appetit bitch. Yeah, she dreams of her self-snapping her mother, ranting over her controlling nature before Freddy arrives and forces Greta to eat her own organs before choking her in front of a laughing audience. In the real world, she just dies in front of her guests, because that's the thing that the movies go back and forth on, is like whether or not Freddy's wounds are inflicted in the real world.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, well, it adds more disbelief if the wounds aren't inflicted in the real world, Like something that I gotta say, because it's a Halloween and I'm a horror hound, I'm not usually like I like Red Letter Media, but I don't watch a lot of their content. But I did watch their Nightmare on Elm Street series review, which is funny because a lot of the things that we've talked about so far came up. But one of the things they mentioned that I'd never thought about is in that first movie, they pretty much established that, like, for example, when Nancy burns her arm, she comes out of a dream, right? The Johnny Depp kill makes no sense in the real world. And that would be a pretty big red flag that a night demon is killing your child.
Yeah.
Because, like, we watch Tina get killed from inside the dream in real life, right? So that means that Rod's death has to look pretty similar to his room being coated in blood and there being no body.
Yeah.
Same thing with Nancy's mom disappearing at the end. Right?
Yeah, every one of these movies has a point of no return where the next movie can't be, oh, you're making this up. But every
time they do, every time they find a way,
he explodes.
That's why it's so frustrating.
Yeah,
But at least none of the other movies go like, Jesus Christ, there's not a fucking Jason Voorhees, you fucking stupid idiot.
But I would be fine with it if they were like, well, it would be more, we could do more fun things if we keep it unbelievable to other people.
Yeah, but here's my pitch also.
They don't.
My pitch is have all the adults being like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We have to fucking keep this quiet. Just like they do in the Freddy vs. Jason movie. I like that.
Yeah.
I like, like the main girl in that movie, like, keeps overhearing the cops talk about how, like, don't say anything about Krueger. We don't need to blow the lid off this, But anyways, another digression. Anyways, they're hanging out at Mark's. And, he gets killed comic book style. You got any one-liners for that one?
More powerful than your local madman or something like that?
Yeah, he's like, more powerful than your local madman.
Faster than a speeding asshole or something like that?
Sure, whatever, yeah. He shows up as, it's Super Freddy, and he just cuts the guy. He's a sheet of paper, and all the color fades out of him.
Yeah, he drags him into Take on Me by Aha.
I gotta say, least favorite kill of the series so far.
Yeah, it's not great, but I do like Super Freddy. I think he's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Told you comic books are bad for you. I have one written down. Do you remember he says, see any resemblance? See a family resemblance?
Oh, yeah, that's at the end when, like, is that when he makes her baby Freddy Jr.?
Maybe. Because I remember it not being a pun. Like, he says it, I'm like, I guess. Is this like where it like really starts being where every dream is like, well, no, it's the last one where like the dreams start being like specifically tailored to each person.
No, they're all kind of always like that.
Are
usually.
They?
Yeah,
well,
I mean, except for the first two. I mean, pretty much from 3 on, they kind of do that. Well, maybe 4 on. I don't know. They start doing it in 3 and 4, and then maybe like this one and the next one is when it really hits its stride, I guess.
We're like
right, because 4 we had like she has asthma, so she gets sucked up like a balloon,
And in
so
3, I guess he had needle hands for the
attic girl. So I think it starts in 3, and then now we're in full swing. Freddy does that.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
what would your no? I was gonna say what would your Freddy dream be, but no. What would we should do each other's? Because it's
that's a toughie.
Because in the movies it's so surface level.
Yeah. Well, I guess yours would be Mark's.
It could be. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what else would be your pitch? I guess.
Don't know.
What else are you afraid of?
It's not even like what you're. I mean, yours would be. I think yours would be you'd be at a gym.
Yeah.
And you'd be doing reps or whatever. Every time you pull it down, you'd get a notification on your phone that says like a deadline for something you have to write is getting a day closer. And then when you run to your computer and you start getting the job done, a tube comes out of your computer into your ears that starts loading complex carbohydrates into you, so you have to go back to the gym, which just makes your deadline come closer, and then Freddy turns into the weight machine and eats you or something like that.
It's very creative, and I'm impressed. Very funny. I don't have anything like that. I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, Nick draws, but I guess I don't have a knack for Nightmare on Elm Street movies. You should write one. That's what I'm saying.
I'll think about what mine would be.
Yeah, write me a spec one. So Mark falls asleep. We already go over the Super Freddy does his thing. Jacob hints that Alice is his mother, which is the little baby we see. Alice goes and gets a fucking ultrasound with her friend Yvonne, and that's when the doctor says something like, oh yeah, because she's like, when does the baby start dreaming? And the doctor, like, he has this attitude of like, no, we're not going there, bitch.
Yeah, the doctor is so
an asshole
hostile
about it.
The doctor has the same like kind of vibe as like all the people in the psychiatric hospitals have had, but he's just her doctor.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, at what age did the baby dream? He's like, why the fuck would you want to know that? And she's like, I'm just asking.
Yeah. Anyways, he says, I don't know, like, immediately. Or whatever. And then it's when she pieces together that Freddy's using his dreams to attack her. Yvonne and Dan's parents still believe Alice is crazy. Yeah, that's right. Like, there's that really tough scene where, like, Dan's parents shows up and they're like, give us the baby because you're insane. and Alice and her dad are like, no, I'm keeping the baby.
Oh, Dad's a complete 180. We didn't mention that. I like that. Dad's sober.
He's a nice guy now.
Yeah, because his son died, which I get.
Yeah. I feel like if you had a Freddy dream where he was gonna kill you, it'd be like you had like a wrecked car in our backyard, and then like as soon as you pulled it into the driveway to like bring it to the mechanic the next day, you'd immediately got a ticket for like expired plates. Just shit like that would keep happening.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And
then
he'd show up at one point and he'd be like, "Good job, fucker! Should have done this a month ago," or something. Exactly,
because it doesn't have to be a pun. It doesn't always have to be a pun.
He can just say fucker.
He just has to call you a bitch at the end of it for sure.
Yeah, I really wish he would use fucker some more, because help yourself fucker is so funny. I feel like fucker's so unutilized.
Gotta bring it back.
It's very funny. Anyways, glad I pulled that out of nowhere. Alice and Mark research Krueger and the nun Amanda. Don't remember that. Realizing Amanda was trying to stop Freddy, they investigate her whereabouts. Don't remember that. And Alice goes to sleep, hoping to find Amanda at the asylum. Don't remember that. While there, Freddy lures her away by threatening Yvonne, who has fallen asleep in a jacuzzi. I kind of remember that. Do you remember Yvonne falling asleep in a jacuzzi? Okay, talk about that then, because I don't remember that well.
Oh, no, I don't remember that well. I just remember her being in a jacuzzi with Freddy.
You got any one-liners or no?
No, my last one-liner is "Told you comic books are bad."
Okay.
We also, I think my favorite part of this movie we skip past is when Alice is telling Yvonne and Comic Book Boy about Freddy.
Yeah.
They say something, and Yvonne goes, "What do you mean by that?" And when she just she crosses her arm and like shifts her weight to one leg.
Yeah.
And the camera like Sam Raimi zooms on her to go, "What do you mean by that?" That's it. It was just out of nowhere. It was a choice.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me.
I can't remember which one, but I was watching another, because again, it's October, so I think I've been on record saying before that I don't watch a lot of like movie analysis or movie review stuff, but I do for horror movies. I love watching people like Cinemassacre or Dead Meat or even Red Letter Media stuff, or recently I started watching this guy Cody Leach or whatever. I love watching people just talk about horror movies like that and do little reviews. I can't remember which one of these it is, but it's one of these where I just had heard that the guy that they gave the movie to at New Line to direct it was literally like living out of his car and stuff, and like was like progressively like getting stinkier and stinkier, and people were noticing because he didn't have access to a shower and stuff. And like I remember him saying at one point, he was like, which is really cool that New Line would give that guy an opportunity and that he got that opportunity, but also it doesn't give me a lot of confidence that you have confidence in your franchise that you're giving the movie to a literal homeless man.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, because it's like, what is the thinking behind that? Like, we'll give this guy a shot, or like, well, we don't want to waste
money.
A good director on Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it as like a gross homeless person directed this movie. I'm saying it as like how do I take that?
Yeah.
In which way did you hire that guy?
Exactly,
like it seems like a backhanded compliment thing where it's like, cool that you got that opportunity, but also I feel like if I know businessmen, it was definitely like, well, we can pay this guy $3,000,
Yeah, I wish the biggest, when people are like, I was born in the wrong time or whatever, the biggest reason I want to be alive in the late 80s, early 90s,
you could be homeless and they would give you Nightmare on Elm Street 6.
Anybody is allowed to direct a movie. If you just go, I'd like to make this movie, they'll go, yeah, probably.
How's $15,000 sound? And you'd be like, yeah, I could do that. And they'd be like, great. Usually the directors charge like $1 million, Anyways, Yvonne, blah, 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 with the jacuzzi. Alice rescues her, don't remember that. Who finally believes her, don't remember that. Mark falls asleep and is pulled in the comic book world. Already talked about that, thought it already happened. Alice goes to bed to find Freddy and save her son. Realizing Freddy has been hiding in her every time she falls asleep, she draws Freddy out from within herself. Don't really remember that. Yvonne finds Amanda's remains at the asylum and joins the fight in the dream world, encouraging Jacob to use power. Don't remember that. Freddy has been giving him. I do remember Jacob being like, call me Fred or whatever, because he's got a burn face and he's like a little baby.
I remember, they're in like an M.C. Escher painting for some reason.
Yes, yeah, that was a good little bit. Yep.
Yeah. And then Dream Dan is there.
Okay. All right. And his infant baby form is absorbed by his mother while Alice picks up a baby Jacob, warning Alice away. Amanda steals Freddy away in time. Several months later, Jacob Daniel Johnston is enjoying a picnic with his mother, grandfather, and Yvonne. Some children jumping rope nearby are humming Freddy's rhyme, hinting at Freddy's return. And that is the conclusion to Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. This movie made how much money? Let's see. What does Wikipedia say? This movie made
buku bucks for
$22 million on an $8 million budget.
That's buku bucks, yeah.
And it also has a 30% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Too high. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I did not like this movie.
This one had the best one-liners, but it's the least memorable to me.
Yeah. Did not like this movie. If I was ranking this, my current ranking is 2, 1, 3, 4, and 5 is going right underneath 4. Oh, man, I did not like this movie. And I also probably am going to just give it an F at this point. A D minus. We'll go D minus. This, fuck, I kind of want to give it an F, but
I'm going to put this one...
I'm going to say F. I'm going F.
Yeah, I was going to say we have to have a bottom on this thing, and I think it's this one. I'm going to give this one an F as well and put it at the bottom of my list.
Yeah, so far our ranking is written down B+, B, C, D, F. Yours goes B, B+, D+, F, F. So the last two have gotten Fs from you, which is respectable. I respect that a lot.
Thank you.
As for look, again, I mean, really, it was just the first 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, he's kind of had the same look. I mean, I guess he kind of looked like shit in that still that they use on HBO Max, so maybe that's what he kind of looks like. I don't know. I wasn't really looking at the guy. I'm going to put him at the dead bottom, So far, again, my look ranking for how Freddy Krueger looks. This one, he looks kind of like a fucked up, circus peanut.
He does. I'm going to put this one above 4 for looks because I like Motorcycle Guts Freddy.
Okay.
I like Super Freddy.
Oh, right. You're roping in like the the effects also. Yes.
I still think my top has to be... No, never mind. Go on.
Yeah, so far yours is 2, 3, 5, 4, 1. Best joke in this one? Is it Bon Appetit, bitch?
It's probably Bon Appetit, bitch, yeah.
I'll agree with Bon Appetit, bitch. You got a favorite kill? I think it also probably, in my opinion, while I did like the motorcycle thing, I probably have to give it to Greta's with the Bon Appetit, bitch. Just the shoving food in her shit.
It's grotesque compared to the other ones, yeah. So.
Yeah. Favorite kid? Freddy, baby. I know it doesn't count, but
yeah,
I don't give a fuck. Baby. I didn't like any of the people in this movie at all.
The only person who I was excited to see was Baby Freddy. So
yeah. Dream?
Favorite dream? I feel
the opening, right? I'm going to go with the shower thing, even though I do like...
Yeah, that one feels the most...
Like a dream.
Like the first one, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's about that for that one. I gotta say, I didn't enjoy that one.
No, that one
did not enjoy that one. Yeah, this next one is usually considered the bottom of the barrel by everybody else. This is the one that people do not like.
And Chris?
Yeah.
This one might be my favorite.
Oh, really?
Not my favorite, but it's
sure.
It's pretty close to the top.
Yeah. This one is kind of what I've been waiting for. Which is to say, it's not good, but it's at least fun and memorable and weird.
Oh, absolutely.
This one came out in 1991, and just off the bat, I mean, they make reference to Twin Peaks, and also, there's from what I've heard, they were supposed to be the Divine cameo.
Yes,
and I think that really sums up the vibe. Like this one feels like it's, it's kind of seeped in that kind of shit, like a John Waters-y, David Lynch-y, kind of like not quite as good as either, but it's like that's what the people that liked it were like, what if we did one that was a little bit like that? I wish they would have gone a little more, but what can you do?
Yeah, the first time you see Freddy in this movie, I think, is when our main character, whatever his name is, wakes up and he opens his window and you hear a cackling, and it's like the Wizard of Oz, and it's the Wicked Witch, but instead it's Freddy on a broom. And I was like, don't know how this movie could be bad.
Yeah, and he goes, "I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul too."
Great, just like there's that, and then like so much of him in this movie, like when he's floating down the kid's floating down on the parachute and he looks up and Freddy's just tiny inside the parachute. Or like he's about to hit the ground and Freddy's like pushing that big bed of spikes. Like with his back and he sits down and
he goes,
whew.
Yeah.
Chris, I think potentially the funniest thing in the world to me might be Bugs Bunny.
Yes, for sure.
So anytime I see any type of Looney Tunes, whatever, in 100%. Any type of media, it will get a laugh out loud laugh from me.
And I do have to say that, that's why people usually hate this one, because they're like, look what they did to my boy. They massacred my boy. And it's like, nah.
The other ones they've been massacring your boy. This guy is fun.
Yeah. Because usually people do like the Dream Warriors and Dream Master the most out of like everything besides, like, it's like 1, 3, and 4, like the 3 that are like considered like mwah.
That's insane.
And I gotta disagree. I'm already gonna spoil my ranking, but mine probably goes 2, 1, 6 in the top 3 slots.
Oh yeah, Chris, same spoiler.
Yeah,
that's Ad Matchers Man. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. So to begin with, we get some cameos here. Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold are here. Alice Cooper plays Freddy's dad.
Love it. Love it.
And Johnny Depp shows up to do the "this is your brain on drugs" thing. But anyways, so we start out, and our main character is he has amnesia, and he keeps dreaming of being in his house that's falling, and that's why he has that nightmare of the.
What? Do you remember what the before this the opening title cards say?
It says set 10 years from now. That's one of the things. But you're talking about in the very beginning when it's like a quote from like Shakespeare, when it's like, "And last for chance I dream," and whatever. And then the next one is "Welcome to prime time."
Yes,
is the next thing. Yeah,
I think it's a Nietzsche quote.
Yeah, it's Freddy. Yeah.
After that, if I remember correctly, the opening title cards say it's 10 years from now. So it's what, 2001?
Sure.
And it says that every kid in the world every teenager in the world has been killed by Freddy?
No, just in Springwood, Ohio. That's why, because he can only operate there. Okay. So that's why he needs to get his daughter, because if he can possess his daughter, then he can travel anywhere. But he's stuck to Springwood, Ohio. So that's why when they go to the fair, there's no children there.
Gotcha, which I really liked.
Yeah, I do like that. I thought that was genius.
They show a 90s map of the United States, so I thought everywhere teenagers are gone. Yeah. And then it says there's a rumor that there's one more left, and then it's this kid, and then immediately shows us a group of new teenagers.
Yeah, no, so that's what it is. He's killed all of the Elm Street kids or whatever, and so he's the last Elm Street kid. So whatever. Freddy's trying to draw him to Springwood, and he ends up getting picked up and taken to this like troubled youth's don't do drugs kind of center that has some children. There's like a lady who was molested by her father, so she's very confrontational. There's a boy who loves to smoke pot. It's important to note that he is not Sean Penn from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yes, also important to note that he doesn't play video games.
It's true.
Also, and then there's Carlos. I remember Carlos.
He has a hearing aid?
He has a hearing aid.
And that's his whole thing.
Yeah. Anyways, so he gets picked up and he's like, "I can't go to bed. Don't make me go to bed." And they're like, "You gotta go to bed. You're gonna be crazy." Anyways, so then the lady who kind of plays the Nancy role from the third one, where she like runs this place, she is also, we'll find out later, adopted. And she's like, "Hey, for your sake, Mr. Main Character, to maybe cure your amnesia, let's go to Springwood. I think it might trigger something." He's like, "Nah, fuck you. Go to Springwood. I ain't doing that." She's like, "Please do." They do. They take the van, and then they like slam on the brakes for some reason, and all 3 of the other kids like slam to the front of the car. And she's like, "What the heck, guys? What are you doing here?"
It was also a genius plan, and they literally just had a sheet of cardboard on top of all 3 of them.
Here's something else too: is like Springwood is 2 miles from this place, like, because they're driving, and there's like a sign that says 2 miles. Who knows? Maybe they drove for a while, and that was just like an establishing shot to let them know that they were close. Whatever. I could be wrong. Anyways. So they get there, and the first thing that happens is that fairgrounds. Love it. It's got a goofy, like I said, like David Lynchy, like kind of John Watersy, like just weird atmosphere about it.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, weird. It's a fair, but there's no kids, so there's just like some weird adults kind of sprinkled around doing whatever. And honestly, seeing it, I'd be like, if I had to pick a fair to go to, it'd be this one. If I could go to a fair that had nobody except for a couple old people there, I'm like, I'd be there all day long.
Yeah. Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold showed up, and she's like, "I can have my little baby again." And Tom Arnold's like, "No, you can't. Don't you know they bring him?" And then a bell rings.
Why? It's them?
No, it's just a little fun cameo.
Okay, but why? Yeah. Who?
I don't know.
They had to know somebody.
Well, let's see. Let me see if I can read something.
You go on. I'll Google it.
Okay, I'll go on. Well, anyways, so she tells, one of the kids says, "It's like fucking Twin Peaks around here." Then the lady that runs the Dare Center is like, "Hey, you 3 that doesn't have amnesia, get the F out of here. Take the van and go back." They get stuck in the same kind of dream travel loop that the girl from the fourth one did. Remember when she's like, we gotta hop in the truck and we gotta go stop Freddy. And then it would cut back to her and be like, we gotta hop in the truck and go stop Freddy. They get stuck in that, just like driving around, right?
Yeah.
They end up at Nancy's house.
And they think nothing of it, which is they're like
I love it though. I love this whole
turns driving.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, I also got lost. Your turn.
Yeah.
I also drove in a circle. It's your turn.
Yeah, love it.
And
it's so fun and dreamy and like weird and surreal.
A minute ago, before these kids start driving, and not Sean Penn lights up a doobie,
and they're like, we will stab you with a knife. Get that the fuck out of here.
Fuck off. He's like, I just want, and they're like, fuck you. They're like, this is their whole dynamic, is them just
yelling at him,
yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And this is where I really thought, like, I can't imagine somebody writing this or somebody being like, yeah, people would want to watch these kids.
Yeah.
People would like to see what happens to these kids. And it's not even like we'll make them so dislikable that like you're rooting for them to be killed. It's just, this movie's impenetrable. Like so much of it, I'm like, I can't get into any of this. I can't. Except for the Freddy Looney Tunes stuff. I'm like, okay. So much of this is just buck wild.
Okay. So Carlos goes upstairs and takes a nap.
Mm-hmm.
Wakes up. Freddy's fucking with him. Cuts his ear, off and gives him like a new hearing aid, and then it morphs into his head. And now, just the drop of a pin. The pin drop stuff.
Yeah, because like
so good.
Like the inside of his ear starts to come on the outside, so he hears really well.
Yeah,
I love this.
Then it gets really quiet.
I really like all this. Yeah, I like him like falling down all the stairs and stuff, and all you can hear is him breathing. I'm like, this is pretty. I like
this dream a lot. This is one of my favorite dreams for sure. This is probably my favorite dream for the movie. Spoiler. So I'm gonna write that down in the kills section. I'm gonna write down Carlos. That's my favorite kill, and the dream. We're just gonna go ahead and consider that Carlos as well. Anyways, so it drops the pin, and like I love how Carlos is like, no, don't do it. And Freddy's like shaking his head like, and he drops it. Carlos catches it, but then Freddy's like, nah, I've got 100 more, and drops them all. And then he shows up with a chalkboard or whatever.
I laughed out loud when he just goes and just pulls up a chalkboard.
And then he like stretches it out and makes it bigger or whatever. And then he like shakes, claw up, and Carlos is like, shaking his head right to
And then his head explodes?
Heads explodes, yeah. Also, lady who runs the DARE program and Amnesia Boy are running around, and they like go to the school, and there's like a teacher that's like, nah, and Freddy Krueger killed a kid in 84, and then he killed 6 kids in 85, and then he killed 3 kids in 87.
Yeah, they're looking for Freddy daughter.
Yeah.
And they've got a piece of a newspaper.
Yeah.
And the teacher has a scrapbook.
Yeah.
And they open it up and go, it turns out that this piece of the newspaper you have came from this scrapbook.
And so they're like, you're probably from here. And then, because they spend the whole movie going back and forth where he's like, I'm Freddy Kid. And she's like, no, I think I'm Freddy Kid. And he's like, no, I think I'm Freddy Kid. This kid never finds out who he is, I think.
He just finds out he's not Freddy Kid and then dies.
Yeah. Anyways.
Which I love. It's maybe my favorite part of this franchise is that a few times our main character, halfway, 2/3 into the movie, done, gone, dead.
Yeah. So then I believe it's Mark who's the stoner. I think that's his name. I'm just gonna say Mark. If it's not Mark, Sawi. What's his name? His name is it Spencer Lewis? Wow, his name's Spencer. Crazy. Spencer falls asleep on the couch. Freddy's like, hey. Oh, well, it starts with the Johnny Depp, like, this is your brain on drugs, and then Freddy Krueger hits him in the head or whatever. He's like, he says, what are you on? It looks like eggs to me.
Love that. Not a pun, but it's funny.
Yeah.
He also sees Carlos in the TV for a second.
Okay.
Carlos is like, Sean Penn, wake up. He's like, hey, man, we were looking for you, bro.
Yeah.
And then he gets sucked into TV.
Yeah, because Freddy's like, hey, man, want to get high?
Love it. I can't remember it's now or later, but at some point the TV fills up with blood and then explodes out like the bed.
It's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. Love that shit.
But anyway, so Freddy's playing like a Nintendo game, and Spencer is his character in this world. And I like this. The whole time he's like, new high score. And he's like, now we're playing with power and stuff.
Because he puts on the power he love it. It's so good.
And I love this. So eventually when they realize that like she's the daughter, because we keep getting these flashbacks to Freddy and like how he's got this secret basement and like the mom finding out, which is all fine. I'm fine with this stuff. Again, I prefer this stuff to like the Amanda Krueger shit and anything else.
Yeah.
I also don't like the dream demon things that happens later, but like I do like just like him being a guy that murders kids. Perfect.
It does happen later, but also it is kind of sprinkled in throughout because everyone has the same therapist who's Yaphet Kotto from Alien.
Oh, yeah. He keeps going like, yeah, there are the dream demons. They're out there.
He's like, I can control my dreams. And we were like...
What do you mean?
We're like, what do you mean?
And he's like, yeah, I can control my dreams. There's dream demons out there. So that starts happening. And then eventually we do see the dream demons. Whatever.
They're eels? Anyway.
Yeah, they're like skeleton eels. Okay.
They're the fish with the lights over their head. They look like that too.
Yeah. So I love... it's like the main character, John Doe. That's what they call him. That's what they have him listed here on the cast. He's like, you got to pull me into the dreams. They get pulled in. So does the, I'm just going to call her... Oh, her name's Maggie. Oh, her real name's Catherine Kruger. We're going to call her Maggie. So Maggie and John Doe are in the dream now. And Freddy... I love that they show up, and for sure, because in my opinion, Freddy is omnipresent and omnipotent and stuff like that in dreams. So when I'm watching this scene and they're approaching, he doesn't give a fuck. He's just continuing to play the video games because he's like, I don't really care.
Yeah,
he's in that room playing video games.
You guys are for sure my main concern, but also I'm doing something right now.
And so they walk up or whatever, and they're like, you gotta stop this right now. And he's like, just stonewalls me. I don't think he says anything. Whatever. Then they start running around shenanigans about
exactly. He's like controlling that kid throughout the house like he's a video game, and it's literally playing like yakety sax or something like that.
And just all kinds of stuff happens. At this point, I may have to look at this. Doc discovers that Freddy's powers come from the dream. Oh, his name's Doc. The dream demons continually revive him, and that Freddy can be killed if he is pulled into the real world. We've been there. We've done that. Not to say that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying Maggie decides that she will be the one to enter Freddy's mind and pull him into the world. Right, yeah, because... Okay, so yeah. Once in the dream world, she puts on a pair of 3D glasses, which was a gimmick.
Skipping past a lot of stuff that I want to get to.
Oh, sure.
After Sean Penn, video game, dies, whatever, we skip past... It's not super important, but it comes up later, that when he's in the troubled kid home...
Yeah.
The... warden, whoever runs that place, is like, you'll never guess what I found under this stoner's bed. A bomb.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, come on, he's just a kid being a kid. And
yeah, both of
us were like, it's a bomb. It's a bomb. Like, it's a pipe bomb, but it's a bomb.
Also, forgot to mention that, because I'm reading it now and I forgot about this. This is a situation where, for some reason, this time around, when Freddy kills you in the dream, everybody forgets about you, but for some reason, Doc still remembers. Yeah,
that's the other thing I was going to get to, is
Which is weird. That is a weird thing.
Everybody dies in Springwood. Our now main character,
Catherine,
Maggie,
whatever you want to call it.
I'll call her Doctor.
Well, Doc is...
Oh, that's right. He's the
other
therapist.
The therapist.
Call her Maggie. Maggie then gets seemingly possessed by Freddy.
Yeah, he goes into her body for sure.
And she like shakes around.
He's like, now I am international.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And then they go back to the home and she goes, remember all those kids I left with? And he's like,
what the fuck are you
talking about? She's like, I had 3 kids. He's like, I would remember that. I think you're working too hard. She goes, no, I think you are working too hard that you don't remember these 3 people.
Yeah.
And then like they're like, yeah, fucking some of these kids are like having dreams about Carlos. I hear them talking about him, but nobody remembers him. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna forget about that onto the rest of the movie.
Yeah. It comes up for no reason. That is a weird one. This one reminds me most, honestly, if I'm gonna compare this to anything, this one reminds me of like the Jason Goes to Hell of the series.
Yeah. I get that.
Where there's just shit happening, and it's like, I like this. Does it work, and is it cohesive? No, but I like this, you know?
Yeah, but also this one doesn't have Creighton Duke, so there's nothing for me to really be like, hell yeah, for it.
Okay. So anyways, yeah, she puts on the 3D glasses when she's in a dream, because Doc says, like, you need these, because in the dream world, they can be anything, or whatever. And really what it is the gimmick in the real world for the 3D portion of this film to let the audience know you need to put on your 3D glasses now.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, they could be whatever you need them to be in the dream, and then she goes in the dream and just they're not there.
Yeah.
And because the rest of these scenes are like just 3D, and none of it's in 3D for us.
Yeah.
It is just wasting our time. like she's
the dream meals.
It goes into that like dreamscape, like where the camera's flying through all that shit, and it is oppressive to look at.
Sure.
Not impressive, like it hurts to look at.
Sure.
Like I almost like had to close my eyes during it because it's just the ugliest and harshest assortment of colors and noise and nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then the little dream guys come up and go bleh in your face.
Yeah.
And then she's in that weird hallway with all the lightning.
Yeah.
And she goes and she touches the door and it gets zapped. And
I love the hallway lightning room. That seems like knockoff dollar store. There's fucking bargain bin David Lynch Black Lodge, and I love it for that. Just like piece of shit fucking garbage version of that.
It does. You're absolutely right.
It, yeah.
I like it.
I like it.
I like it aesthetically, but she touches the doors a bunch and she keeps like almost getting zapped, and she goes,
and then she like spits on something.
She takes off her bracelet and goes, ugh, and throws it into I don't know what, that is, and it shorts out. Yeah. I don't know what. Yeah. And the electricity stops, and then she goes through the room, and that's that. I was like, that was a waste of our time. Is all that was. Like, I can't even imagine any of that being in 3D. It's just nothing happened for a couple minutes.
I do have to say, on a side note, I don't know if we talked about this in the movies before, but I don't think it comes up often in movies, like where you deal with this kind of thing, but the character who was molested growing up or whatever, she has a dream where her dad comes home and is like, give me some honey. And I gotta say, bro, like, you don't need that in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, that's a different kind of scary.
Yeah, I was gonna,
That's not fun. Like, we're at the movies. Isn't this spooky?
Hey, no,
it reminds. The only other time that I remember it coming up really to my memory, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, is like, I don't know if we watched the director's cut of Rob Zombie's Halloween or not, but I have seen it before, and like the way that Michael escapes is that like two assholes that work there bring in a mentally insane girl and rape her in his room or whatever, and it goes on forever, and they like take turns and stuff like that, and it's like, again, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
both of these.
What is this adding to the fucking... What the fuck?
Yeah, do you really... Hey, Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, do you really think you're the people that should be tackling this subject? Yeah. Do you think this really fits in your movie?
Yeah, and it's like, also, you think that this is adding something to your Dream Demon movie?
Exactly. Like
what is sexual assault doing for Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, like, it's...
Which is going to come up in the remake again, because they really doubled down on him being a molester more than a murderer.
In this one, it's like... that was just weird and out of nowhere, and they maybe shouldn't have done that. But I think about the Rob Zombie one sometimes because I just have such a disdain for him after that movie.
Yeah.
That it's like, man, if you think that this should have been in your movie, that you're saying something with this, you are a child who has such a limited understanding of these things and what they actually mean. Yeah. Oh, God, fuck that guy. Fuck him into the ground.
But on this movie's topic, moving back to where we were, she sees a bunch of scenes from Freddy's mind where like he's a baby and he's getting abused and he's getting teased as a child because he smashes a hammer, and then everybody in the school, I don't know, this is I'm actually gonna nitpick this, and I'm gonna fully stand out in front of everything and everyone and say, why does everyone in class know that he's the son of a million maniacs or whatever? Because he smashes the hamster and they all go, son of 100 maniacs, son of 100 maniacs.
Well, maybe they saw him do that and go, the whole explanation is that this kid's dad is 100 maniacs.
Yeah. So it's just crazy to me because it's like, so like since birth, this boy's just been teased like that? Well, then, okay, so then that's nuts is all I'm going to say. Like, of course he grew up to be a dream demon.
Yeah, exactly. I also think it's pretty fun that young Fred Krueger looks like Rorschach without a mask on.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that he's a little redheaded boy.
Yeah, which Rorschach's going to play him later.
So then he was abused by his foster father, who was Alice Cooper, and he started cutting himself on his little belly, murdered his wife when she discovered his child murder room. So I like all these little scenes enough, again, because it doesn't have anything to do with dream demons or other than the son of a 100 maniacs thing. Again, I don't need Amanda Kruger being a fucking nun that was, again, because that's the other thing about the son of 100 maniacs. Here's another thing that I'll do to validate and prop up my I don't need it is, what the fuck with the sexual assault? Why does his mom need to have been raped for a whole weekend over a holiday weekend by 100 different lunatics? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that add to Freddy? You know, like,
nothing. Like, I think it is much. It's him being, just a regular old child murderer who murdered his wife and whatever, a daughter got taken away from him. Yeah, that works, but it's so strange to have the son of 100 maniacs and then be like, hey, let's ground this a little bit. Yeah, but also they show his murder room.
They do.
I'd like to talk about the glove.
Oh yeah, he's got like a dozen different ones.
Like
he's like
prototypes.
He's like Iron Man in there. He's just like, what if they were short knives? What if they were actually just spikes coming out of the palm, so it was like I could grab you and stab you a bunch of times. You're like,
yeah, which is So
is he killing each of these kids in different little murder glove ways?
It stands out to me because I don't know about you, but the glove I never really thought about. I never thought about him making
I thought about it all
glove.
the time. I did. That's why I was always like, the glove is so weird to me. So it's like, did the dream demons give it to him, or was he killing people with it before he died?
Because I would buy that he killed people with it before he was dying, or before he died. But like just the look of the glove, and it's like that brown leather, and like
I've always thought about it because I'm like, dude, where did he construct this thing out of? Like, where did these little pieces come from?
Well, the way it looks, I always assumed like I had never really thought about it, but to me it looks like, oh yeah, look at this like weird fucking like gardening shears from like 1912. Isn't this insane? Like
some shit he put together. Yeah.
Like you see some like old
I know
whatever
what you're talking about, for sure.
From turn of the
That's
century.
Cool.
Like,
I
that's
wish I had
looking.
that relationship with it, because from the get, I was like, dude, you're telling me this guy just like thought this up? Like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he was just at home thinking about killing kids, and he was like,
like, and that's what it turned out to be.
Yeah.
Like when you see the room with all the gloves, and he's just like he's like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I really, really, really want to stab people, but I don't want to hold the knife.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because again, yeah. I mean, it is a scary like nightmare image for sure. But that's what I like. If the nightmare glove exists, it's got to be a nightmare glove for me. Because that's almost why I like the second one, where it just comes out of his fingers, because it takes away this weird thing where I'm like he had to assemble this, meaning he had to like salvage these pieces and like combine this, like, I don't know, like, did he literally smelt those blade things? Whatever.
Like he's a creepy like groundskeeper that works in a boiler room. Sure. I would buy that he found that weird turn of the century glove down there, you know?
Sure.
But he's not.
I'm sorry to keep nitpicking it so much.
I keep doing that thing.
It's always been weird to me.
No, it's totally fine. That's what we're here to do. Also, I made this mistake. He's not a groundskeeper, right?
I don't know what the fuck he is.
I think everybody thinks he's a groundskeeper because in Treehouse of Horror, groundskeeper Willie is Freddy Krueger.
I know that in the remake, apparently he lives like in the basement of the elementary school.
Yeah, that's what I might be getting it mixed up with that as well.
Anyways, so as the family's showing up and burning his house down, his little groundskeeper Willie shack, he's like burning or whatever, and the demons show up and they're like, listen, buddy, you're about to be unemployed in a major way. And he's like, I know, I need income. And they're like, you want all the income? He's like, give me the income.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
But what actually happens is arguably wackier than what you just said.
Okay, what happens?
It just shows them flying around and he goes, I want it, give it all to me.
And they're like, here it comes.
Like, have they had the conversation earlier? Did they just show up right now?
Sure, yeah. Oh. Again, that's something I got to give a props to Child's Play for, is like, I like the origin story so much more. Brad Dourif, the coolest guy who's ever lived, I will fight people on that, is just a fucking murderer. He's the South Shore Strangler or whatever. Just loves voodoo. And so he's bleeding out in a fucking toy store, and there's literally a scene where they show him look at the doll, smile, and then he puts his soul into the body of it. Freddy relaxed that with this scene.
Yeah,
it's just like he doesn't have like they never established that he's like into the occult or something, that he might have like a relationship, which is fine. Again, I'm nitpicking, just being a big asshole. But anyways,
like the dream demons just happened to be by, and we're like, man, what about this guy?
Yeah, they're like, well, because earlier they say that the doc says, legend has it that the most evil person alive, the dream demons come to. It's like a crow situation where like when the soul's too heavy or whatever and has unfinished business, they drop you so you come back for a night. So the dream demons only approach the literal most evil human being alive. So at that time in like 1950 or whatever that he, gets fucking, scorched, he is legally, universally the most evil person who has ever lived.
Yeah.
That is still alive, meaning to say.
Yeah. World War II just ended. Nazis are still alive.
Hitler's gone, so someone else had to take up the fucking mantle.
I mean, yeah, Nazis are still alive.
There are Nazis. There are still Nazis alive.
There are, the folks that created and dropped the nuclear bomb, but this guy who killed 5 kids.
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get him.
Well, yeah, that reminds me of, again, like, still my biggest gripe with Halloween Kills. I'm not trying to be a dick. I do, like I said, these movies are growing on me as time passes, but the thing that I still cannot get over with Halloween Kills is they're like, evil dies tonight, but they literally ignore all of the sequels. You know how many people he kills in that first movie? Like barely 3 or 4.
I really like, they mention it in the Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
Where like one of her friends is like, yeah, but what is she like really like upset about? Like a guy killed a couple kids back and whatever. Because, like, you know, nowadays in context, that's bad, but it's not really anything.
Like, Halloween Kills, I feel like would be less of an annoying thing with the Evil Dies Tonight if it were not a legacy sequel and it was an actual sequel to all of them. To be like, oh yeah, this dude's killed like 200 people, like for sure. We got to kill evil tonight, you know.
I like it because it's like it's not handled super well.
Yeah.
But when you like the way I think about it, it is like all the people from that first movie, like the nurse and Tommy and the other kids, they are like Laurie, where they're really fucked up about it, but they're not like hidden away and wherever. They're not like
they're not living in the woods.
Have a compound in the woods, but they're still really fucked up about it. So Michael Myers coming back is them being like, oh yeah, the worst thing that's ever happened to me. True evil from what I've experienced is back, and they whip everybody up into a frenzy. Yeah. And so is it perfect? Absolutely not, but I still think it kind of works. Anyway, this movie.
So yeah.
Oh, so right. The plan is to bring him out of the dream. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, she successfully pulls him out, and they basically just have hand-to-hand combat. She uses a bunch of weapons that they had confiscated from the shelter.
Yeah, they're trying to... Her and Freddy are, like, locked in this, like, cage part of a boiler room. And Doc and Girl are, like, on the other side, like, trying to bang it open. And they can't get the gate open, so they're just throwing her weapons through the gate over and over again.
Yes.
Until they eventually throw her a pipe bomb.
Yes.
Oh, I really like you see normal Robert Englund here.
Yeah, she like here. Oh, because she literally says she's like, you're normal here.
Yeah. It was a trick.
It was a trick. So yeah, they fight for a little while, and she says like, come on, come to daddy, be a murderer like me or whatever. She's like, I'll never be like you or whatever. Stabs him with his own gloves because she puts it on. And then at the very end, they stab the pipe bomb into his chest or whatever. And I really wish she would have like gone like, oh, looked at the camera, gone blink, blink, and then like held up like a help sign, because like that would have been
so good. Yeah,
chef's kiss for me. But he gets blown up, and then his head flies at the screen, and then his head comes out of his mouth again, and you know what I'm talking about, a couple times.
Well, I know, yeah.
In 3D, and then nothing else. Oh, that's right. Yeah. And then Maggie says she did, according to Wikipedia, triumphantly declares Freddy's dead. And then I think like an Iggy Pop song plays or something like that. Great. Love this movie. Not like I love the first two. I guess I should say I like this. I've got a little crush on this movie, but I don't. It's whatever. This is a C to me. This is a C. I'm giving this one a C.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a C+.
Nice.
It is the later. It is the equivalent to like Halloween H2O to me.
Yeah.
Or like I'm like, well, no.
I'd compare it to the fifth one, the one where like they drop a net on him and shit.
Yeah, and that girl outruns a car.
Yeah, and like Loomis is like nuts at this point where he's like, I'll fucking shoot him with a fucking gun. I don't give a fuck. We gotta kill the girl because she can talk to him. You know, like
Yeah, these are the ones where I'm like, hand on my head.
This is like the Roy.
Yeah, both hands on my head. I'm smiling ear to ear, going, I can't believe that a movie is doing this.
Yeah.
Or the other ones, I'm like, my hands are on my lap, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe a movie's doing this.
Yeah. So yeah, for me the new ranking is 216, 3, 4, 5. So yours is 216, 3, 4, 5 as well. I can't believe we're so locked in this time around. Look again. Who gives a fuck? I'm just gonna, put it just where the look is. I mean, do you have a place you want to rank this specifically?
I can't remember any like wacky versions of him in this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it at the bottom.
Yeah, whatever. At the bottom, best joke.
I'd say him pushing the bed of nails and going, oof.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Bed of nails, great. Favorite kill? I said Carlos. What's yours? Probably.
Probably Carlos.
Yeah. Favorite dream.
Favorite dream. It's got to be the end. It's got to be that big long dream with the electricity room and that shit that's hard to look at.
I'd agree with you. Yeah. I'd agree with you. I'd say electricity room. Favorite kid? I would have to say I'm going with let me look up her name. Isn't that funny? She's my favorite, and yet I don't even know her name. That's her name for real? Really?
Yeah, Toyota, I guess, is my favorite.
Wow. I think her name is Tracy Swan.
Wow.
She's the one that, like, her dad did the stuff that I don't even want to talk about, bro.
I found her a bit abrasive. But I guess they all were.
Yeah.
The least so I'd say is Carlos. So Carlos is my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what else can we say about this though? This one is funny. I like him being like a Bugs Bunny kind of character. And yeah, so this one has, between that and then like the fair scene and the driving in circles and Springwood scene, it just has the personality I've been lacking for 3 movies.
Yes, absolutely. It just the whole vibe of like the sets and everything does absolutely feel like a Nickelodeon game show. So I love that.
Yeah.
Also, I looked it up, didn't mention it. Roseanne and her Tom Arnold are this movie because they like the movies.
Nice.
That's
cool.
it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's like John Waters is in Child's Play.
Chipmunks. Oh.
And I sent I don't think I sent the snap, but I took a screen recording of him talking about it where he was like, yeah, I'm in Child's Play because like Chucky's the best. He's like, I don't like Freddy or Jason or Michael or any of those other people. They're boring. I hate them. But
John Waters kicks ass, man.
He's like Chucky is fucking cool as hell.
Like I've seen Pink Flamingos, and I honestly have really no interest in seeing any of his other movies.
I do. I want to see Multiple Maniacs, Polyester, and I want to see the original Hairspray for sure. I'm sure there's more that I'd like to see, but those are the 3 that I like really would like to see. But anyways, continue.
Every time I see anything with him or I hear him talk ever, I'm just like, God, this guy just kicks ass. He's the best.
Yeah.
He's like a legitimately cool Kevin Smith.
Give me 1 second. Is this it? Oh, it is.
The actor who was in Waters' horror comedy Serial Mom.
I'm a big fan of Chucky. I think he's better than Jason. He's better than all of them. Than Freddy. Better than Norman Bates.
Red Man's sick of waiting.
Damn, better than Norman Bates.
Crazy.
But yeah, I mean, again, like I gotta say, like that's the biggest thing that I feel like people are usually like, oh, Child's Play, that's so lame. Like a killer doll, that's not scary. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's Brad fucking Dourif.
Yeah, it's the dude.
It's Brad Dourif.
Yeah.
He just happens to be in a doll body. Like that's
Can't
the cool.
lose.
That's the thing why I like, because I don't actually like the living doll stuff. Where it's like, is this doll alive? Like Toy Story is cool, but I'm saying if you're trying to be scary with it, whatever. But he just happens to be in a doll body.
Yeah.
Was Toy Story not scary to you?
No, that's just funny. When I think of a living doll movie, no, I don't think of Toy Story.
I do.
I mean, you're not wrong, but also, okay, yeah.
It's a living doll.
It is, but like, a living doll movie is like, ooh, this doll is haunted and possessed.
Is that not what Toy Story is?
Toy Story is every single one in the world.
Which is scarier.
It might be, yeah.
Way scarier.
But they're all benevolent. They're cool dudes.
That you know of. We've only seen 4 movies.
You ever seen Toy Soldiers or Small Soldiers?
Yeah, I loved that when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Never thought about it as scary, but
it's scary. It's I think it's on purpose scary. I remember watching it like as a teenager,
really?
and like this movie's fucked up.
Interesting. Well, anyways, so now we've watched, I guess in a sense, like kind of the original 6. If I'm really actually trying to make a comparison to the Friday the 13th series or the Halloween series. This next one is like the Halloween H2O or Halloween Resurrection, or it's like the Friday the 13th, like Jason Goes to Hell or like Jason X. This next one is the one where they're like kind of exhausted of main series ideas, and this one exists kind of on its own. And I think it might be kind of universally considered to be the strongest of those examples that I just gave you. And people consider it to be like a precursor to Scream with the meta narrative stuff, yada yada yada.
Our boy Wes is back.
Wes is back. Yeah. I feel a little trepidatious about the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. What the fuck was that?
It's windy as hell, dog.
Man, oh man. Cut that out. But anyways, so next week is going to be Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do Freddy vs. Jason again. I know we already did it for Friday the 13th, but it'd just be fun to revisit because, well, one, this movie has less, this franchise has less movies than Friday the 13th and Halloween. So, we got to pad those numbers. But also, this will now be me and you approaching Freddy vs. Jason with much more background on Freddy. I actually genuinely don't think we're going to get much more out of it.
Oh, we'll see.
Got to be honest with you.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Are you?
I'm excited about next week for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully we watch one of these movies, maybe even tonight.
We'll see.
Weekly is a little rugged. I can't believe we did that for like a year and a half.
Yeah, you're telling me, man.
I can't believe we found the time to watch 2 movies and record about an hour to an hour and a half long podcast, and then also edit it every week. Yes. So anyways, I'm also excited. Again, like I said, we will probably talk about it more in our last episode, because we're just talking about the remake probably, and then we can talk about the series as a whole. But again, yeah, just want to double down on, it's probably been the least fun franchise for me so far. It's really not been that much fun.
Yeah. Hopefully these last 3 end with a bang.
Yeah, I feel like the remake's not going to end with a bang.
No, for sure. The remake's going to be not great, I feel.
Yeah.
But I'm still hopeful.
Yeah. It's tricky because a lot of the other franchises probably don't even require us to go weekly. We've banged out the big 3 that have just like a shitload of movies in them. But like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Child's Play might be enough. Those 2 might be enough for like the next 2 years. But then after that, I think we're going to end up probably with less movies.
We'll figure something out, yeah.
Yeah.
I
would like to eventually get to a point where we did even themed Halloweens,
yeah.
Where it's not even just a franchise. But until we knock out all the big ones, like the 2 I just mentioned, that's probably the plan, is to continue with the franchise stuff. But whatever. I'm rambling now. This is the kind of conversations we should be having with the last one. So we teased out, by the last one, we should pick what next year's is.
Okay.
Just saying. That's what we did last year. So those are my 2 that I would like you to pick from, because again, like I said, I want to knock out the big ones.
Well, okay, yeah, we'll talk about it next episode.
Yeah.
Or last episode.
Again, Texas, we've already talked about the original and we talked about the remake. And I think in general, some of the plans we have for the podcast, I don't mind revisiting things, even multiple times. But just for the sake of like those Halloween episodes, sorry, I know we already did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We did it in like our first 6 months though.
It's true.
We probably have some more fun stuff to talk about. Also, it's just fun to have a conversation about. We talked about the remake. Oh, not the remake. The 2013. The
reboot.
Yeah, the reboot. Oh, golly. Well, whatever. Here's one of the last. I mean, there'll be 2 more, but here's one of the last. That's that, bitch. That you're gonna get this season. So
enjoy it.
Yeah. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,